Hi YouTube, how's it going? Happy end of January. There's a few more days left in the month, but I don't really think I'm gonna finish the book I'm reading before then. It's not like super captivating me. So I just wanted to kind of touch base with y'all, and I hope the filming is okay. We're on a new phone. Um, so at least it's an upgraded camera, but we'll see if it's better or not. I'm still not gonna do any editing, so don't hold your breath on that. But I'm here to do a little January wrap up and kind of discuss my reading goals for the year because I didn't post it at the beginning of the month like everybody else. So we'll start with the reading goals just to get that down up front. I'm just pulling up my little notes here. Generally, I'm wanting to read things that are like to me more of substance, and like that doesn't discount anything that anybody else reads. I've been like having a need to read books that are very like low brain power, which is totally fine. But I just have only been reading that kind of content, so I want to kind of try and read more nonfiction or more like books that make me think a little bit harder than the books I read in the past year. So that's up to interpretation, and like that's just a thing. I'm going to try and be a little bit more intentional about reading books that to me have a little bit more depth to them. Also, we're going to continue the goal from last year, which is to finish series that I have started that I own, and to minimize buying books. I currently just lapsed my Barnes and Noble's membership, which with the discounts and everything, should hopefully slow me down. I got a gift card for Christmas, so I bought a few books right before my membership lapsed. So hopefully we don't need to. That hopefully that will discourage me from buying books, anyways. I have a few specific authors I want to read some more classics by. I have a few Dumas books and Steinbeck books that I own that I haven't read, and I really like those two authors, so I just kind of want to finish the books that I own by them. Specifically, want to read, in terms of Russian literature, Master of the Margarita, Dr. Zhivago, and Brothers Kazamarov. That's like my only like tangible goals for the year. I every year on Goodreads I just up my books that I read goal by like one. So this year happens to be 78. I believe I'm still on track. I got a little behind already in the beginning of the year, but then I happened to like read 4 books in one weekend, which was exciting. So, anyways, the books that I've read in the month of January, so in this year so far, we are entering wrap up time at 2 minutes and 52 seconds. I received The Goldfinch for Christmas by Donna Tartt, and I really liked The Secret History, and that's probably why my mom bought that book for me, because I made her read The Secret History. The Goldfinch was definitely a character study. It was a good book. It was well written. However, I had a hard time like caring about anything that was happening to any of the characters. It was I read like a review that said it was Dickensian in nature, so Charles Dickens for context. And that makes a lot of sense to me, because every character at every point in the entire book makes like the worst possible decision they could, and therefore their life is terrible. So that's kind of like the experience I had with the book. Like I didn't really feel satisfied with the ending. I know it's a bunch of people's favorite books, and it like has the Pulitzer Prize, and I definitely am like not gonna get rid of the book, because there was certain parts of the book that I really enjoyed. However, there was a lot that was just like nothing is happening besides people making bad decisions and doing nothing and wallowing in their pity. So it was maybe not the book for me, but it was. I'm glad I am still ultimately glad I read it. Oh, sorry, my Goodreads confused me briefly, because I was like, I have not read this book called The Honey Witch, because it does not come out yet. Anyways, I then read Lessons in Chemistry. I listened to it on Audible, which does count as reading. I really liked it. I personally am a woman in STEM, and I know we've come a long way since the time period that was written about. However, it really like brought to light like that fact that we're still fighting this battle for like um to be taken seriously in the same way that men are in the field. And I think it was a good story about like, in addition to the chemistry, about her being a chemist, which was so important. It was about like family and purpose, and sticking up for what you believe in and what you want for your life. And like that's what that character did, from her fighting to be a chemist that was recognized, to like her taking care of her child and all of these things. So I really recommend that book. I haven't seen the TV show yet, or movie. I'm not sure which is which, but it was a very good book. Definitely really enjoyed it. I then read Lore Olympus Volume 4, just it's the graphic novels that are like over there, that are a retelling of, and I believe it's originally the online comic platform. I can't remember it off the top of my head right now, but it's a retelling of the Persephone and Hades relationship. I haven't. Webtoon is what it's called. It's a webtoon comic, and they're being published right now. So I think there might be 5 of them out at this point. I never read them on Webtoon, so I'm just reading them on in the published form, and I'm really enjoying them so far. I know it like has there's a lot of things that the books themselves will discuss regarding trigger warnings and stuff, so definitely before you check out the books, go check out those warnings, because a lot of the relationships with the gods are and the mortals and everything in between are not the healthiest, and that definitely is something to consider before picking up the books. But the art is incredible. I love the story. I was definitely a Percy Jackson kid, so I'm thoroughly enjoying the new show coming out at this point. But like, so I enjoy a lot of the Greek mythology things, and they may or may not be like accurate, but it is a retelling, and I'm having a great time in it. I then read the Monk and Robot books 1 and 2, so a Psalm for the Wild Built and a Prayer for the Crown Shy. I gave Psalm for the Wild Built a 5 stars and Prayer for the Crown Shy 4 stars. And I'm only really going to talk about the first one, because there's like just all spoilers in the discussion for the second book. But A Psalm for the Wild Built is just a beautiful story of a monk whose daily life is filled with like driving, biking, or like this little wagon bike thing. It's technically, I think, a post-apocalyptic world, but it's like the civilization's been rebuilt. So in this rebuilt civilization, he's wagon biking between towns and serving people tea and listening to what they're going through in their life, and like what they are dreaming about, and what they're stressed out about, and just like offering comfort and tea. But he gets to a point where he's like, well, what is my purpose in life? Like, this isn't fulfilling. So he just like bounces and goes into the woods, which I respect, where he stumbles into a robot. And part of the downfall of civilization that is not super referenced at any point, but like is lightly implied, is like humanity, industrialization, created robots. Robots took over the world. Robots stepped back from the world when they realized they were destroying the world. So humans and robots have been separate for all this time, for like that hundreds of years, if not 1,000 years or something like that. A long enough time where the humans have largely forgotten about the robots. But the monk, or I think his name is just Monk, sorry. Monk stumbles into this robot gent, and they become fast friends, and they kind of explore the wilds together, and just like discuss and like learn about each other in the most wholesome. I'm having a hard time putting it into words, but this book is the definition of what I would consider like a cozy sci-fi, cozy post-apocalyptic book. It's about friendship. It's about like meaning. The monk cusses a bunch, which is really like funny and lighthearted. It adds some like humor to the story, like the way things will just like happen that you don't expect. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful little they're 2 little novellas, and I read them both in like one sitting each, and I 10 out of 10 recommend. I don't know if it's only 2 books. I would be intrigued to see if it was more, but so far I think it's only 2 books. And it's just a lovely little reading experience. that is all the books I finished in January. I'm currently reading Whiteout by Ken Follett. It is and I think I might finish before the end of the month, but if I don't, I don't. It's about a like bioengineering style like virology research lab out of the UK. I think it's up in Scotland technically. That has partnerships with like multiple government organizations. Right before the holidays, they have a leak of a bunny that was taken by one of the employees who ended up getting bit by the bunny at some point in transit and dying of this horrible, like incurable disease. There is some other drama regarding like certain family members and like thievery and like stuff or like money laundering that's happened in the past by these like by these other family members who don't respect the father, also known as the like CEO of this company, this virology company. And so we're mostly following the perspective of their new security liaison. Her name is Tony, and she's trying to like figure out what all happened with this rabbit, see if they actually got the disease contained, because it's incurable. So like global pandemic catastrophe is a potential option. We just don't know yet on that point. So I'm intrigued to see what happens. It's definitely a mystery book. Pacing's a little interesting. We're occasionally getting like chapters that are about totally different people we haven't met, so I'm wondering if that'll come into play later, but currently it's just confusing. So that is the book I'm reading right now, and I have quite a big stack of books to read for the rest of the year, and I'm curious to see what y'all's reading goals are, what you're currently reading, how your January went. Are you sticking to your goals? Are you on track? Yeah. I want to do a bookshelf tour soon. I'm just probably going to rearrange my living room, so I'm going to wait for that first. Currently, we're organized by genre, and then sometimes by author and sometimes by like visual aesthetic of the book, which I know is a chaotic organization, but this is clearly my fantasy and sci-fi section if you see the giant Brandon Sanderson section on the top shelf. But yeah, so stay tuned for hopefully more books in this year. Book videos, some bookshelf tours, stuff like that. Let me know if there's anything y'all want to see from me. For some reason, my like astrophysics book video I made like 4 years ago is actually 4 years ago now, goodness, is my most watched video, and everybody wants more content on that, but because I've been tired, I've not read any more books like that. So if you have any recommendations in the nonfiction, science, astrophysics, space, astronomy sphere, I'll definitely take those, and maybe I can make some new content on that. So without further ado, that's all I got this evening. Happy January, happy reading, happy new year. I'll catch y'all next time. Bye.